Hey, g'day and welcome to another episode of Step Heroes. In this one, we're going to look at the melee class. We're going to look at the ultimates, we're going to look at the abilities, and we're going to look at each of the characters that fit within the actual melee class itself. So if it's something you're looking for, stay tuned. Let's go get straight into it. All right, welcome back. As we said, we're going to check out each of the melee classes. So we've got a couple of exciting things on this one. Not only am I using a new editing software, so we might have a few subscribe if you'd like to subscribe, and it's the first one. It's just going to get crazier from there. And I've got a new microphone position. All right, so we'll see how that goes there. Okay, the heroes. So we're going into the melee class, but before we jump onto the melee class itself, just want to go through the game release schedule. Same as we did for the summoning class or the magic class. We're now at the end of October, so mid-November we're now doing the next lot of alpha game releases. They're going to extend the opportunities, so hopefully these videos will also help you with the classes and understand the abilities of each of the characters, and therefore how you're going to play those characters and what's the best setup of your 5-man team to combat the PvE or the PvP, depending what you're actually going into. So it's super exciting. We're only a couple of weeks away, so it's getting there as well. Another thing just want to refresh you on is each of the actual elements themselves. So there's sort of two lots of synergy. There's the fire, water, earth synergy. So fire deals 30% more damage to earth. Water damaging more puts out your fire, and earth does 30% more damage to your water. Then you've got your light dark synergy, so your light's doing 30% more damage to your dark, and your dark's doing 30% more damage to your light. But let's jump straight into the melee class. Okay, here we are. So we've got the zombie swordsman, we've got the Layla Vampire, we've got Leonardos, and we may or may not have King Arthur. Now the reason I say that is I'm going to show you King Arthur. If I look at the spreadsheet, and I'll put the spreadsheet below in regards to the stats when we get to the first one, but King Arthur is literally in my melee spreadsheet and is also in my tank spreadsheet that was provided to me by Step Heroes. So we'll see what happens when it comes out, and we'll see where that character sits itself. So let's go on with the first one. Okay, zombie swordsman. So ultimate, and we'll call it the ultimate because I think it's probably the easiest way to go through. So eat, bites an enemy and inflicts 30% physical damage. Primitive power, which is just their main ability. Speed increased by 20%. The warrior's instinct recovers 50% of magic power with 20% chance whenever you're attacked. So it's a passive take on damage. And the zombie power, which is a passive base, hit points are increased by 30%. So let's just have a look at, I'm just going to put now the spreadsheet down below. So have a look at this, and you'll actually have a look at the stats that we've got for the melee class itself. So just reading it from the side, but as I said, they'll be down below. The hit points, depending on whether they're common through to legendary, I guess, or mythical, you're looking at 190 to 286 for the hit points itself. So obviously sitting between magic, which was certainly the lowest, right through to tank, that's certainly the highest, which makes sense. Attack power, and that's what we'd expect, that the focus is certainly on the attack power between 14 and 22. Magical power between 9 and 13, so a low on the magical power. And it's interesting that they're actually the zombie swordsman here is actually recovering magical power. Physical defense between 11 and 17, and magical defense also between 11 and 17. So an equal amount of defense both on magic and physical damage. Let's go through with the next one. The next character we have is Layla Vampire. This is an amazing looking artwork character. So punishment. Swings quickly in a cross shape that inflicts 320% physical damage to all enemy in front with 2 hits. Decrease the magical defense for 2 turns. So a good, I guess, support, not a support, that's probably thing, but if you proc these with a magic class, that she is going to reduce the magic defense, and then obviously your magic class is actually going to hit them with the magic damage. It's certainly going to add up and stack up. The hollow attack, and that's her ultimate. The hollow attack flies to the enemy with the lowest hit points, and inflicts 230% with 4 critical hits, and inflicts 7% of the enemy's maximum HP as bonus damage. That is a mouthful. But definitely, so a single target. Prayer. Increase the team's critical damage by 30%. Okay, so just having her on your team is increasing, so she obviously a little bit of support class as well, increasing the critical damage by 30%. And Fanatic Belief, increase the attack power by 1% of maximum HP. So she's got a bit of everything there. She's a melee class, but she's a support class for magic users. Obviously a support class for everybody else by increasing their critical damage. So she's a bit of everything. So I think she's going to be a fairly popular character. Let me just have a quick look to see if there's anything we mean there. The damage on the first one for punishment is actually on the spreadsheet is actually saying that damages all. So even though it says swirling a cross shape to inflict 320% physical damage to all enemy. Yes, it is. So the same as a lot of the ultimates as well. Okay, next one we've got Leonardos. Now, I have to say, when I was playing the pre-alpha, Leonardos was one of my favourite characters. Melee class by where he's placed, but definitely just had that tank feel as well. So you could put him in the front line, and not only did he act like a tank character, but also had the punch. Creates a shield to absorb the physical damage from the enemy by 500% of the attack power. Now, when we talk about tanks and we go into Mammoth, they have a similar shield. The difference is the Mammoth didn't sort of feel like it had the punch as much as Leonardos. So that its ultimate ability. What it's not saying here, which I found or I felt with the ultimate ability, it wasn't a one-turn ultimate ability. It felt like the shield stayed there for 2, 3, 4 turns. So whether it's a case that the shield stays there until it's completely used up, which is quite different. Whereas a lot of all the other ultimate abilities that I certainly played with were certainly a one-hit ultimate ability. So that's why I sort of like Leonardos. Strike the ground. Strikes the earth to create an earthquake to inflict 200% damage on all enemies in the front. So this one's a little bit different. So we're talking about his active skill. And we've gone through the magic, and now we're into the melee as well. And I think this is the first character that has a multi-target active skill. Yes, a lot of them have obviously multi-targets or everybody for their ultimates, but certainly for an active skill, front line, bang, 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 just constantly sort of punching out the front line. And if the front line's going to be the tanks, he's just going to chip away at those tanks, so it's not a bad one. Maximize attack, so for the first passive, Leonardos' bravery will increase as there is more enemies. Attack power will increase by 25%. So at the start of the battle, Leonardos is going to be at his best. You put him perhaps one row, put him in the middle row, and hit him out there, that the fact that he's taken out the front row, or he's going for everyone that's in the front row, that's not a bad stacking bonus, certainly at the beginning of the battle. Yes, his attack will reduce over time, but where it counts most at the beginning of the battle, he's doing an extra 25% more damage, and his physical defense will increase by 25% if he's in the front row or if he's actually getting attacked. As I said myself, Leonardos, from the gameplay that I played, was definitely one of my favourites, and if he doesn't get nerfed, or some of those abilities get nerfed, I'd be very surprised, because he did feel powerful. and I did feel like he definitely changed the tide of some of the battles that we played. And the last one we have is King Arthur. And as I mentioned before, King Arthur sits within two spreadsheets. Sits not only within the melee class, but also sits with the tank class. I think he's going to be a tank. But we'll put him here because he's on the melee spreadsheet. Worst comes to worst, we show him twice. Okay, King Arthur itself, his ultimate, Judgment. Big sword comes from the sky and flicks 150% physical damage and stuns all targets for one turn. Now the damage isn't big. 150% was probably the lowest we've had for all our ultimates. But I think what the bonus is here is not only does he do the damage, he's actually stunning everyone and taking them out of the game for one turn. So that's not a bad one. And this is why I think he may actually be sitting within the tank, because it is actually sort of a low attack, isn't it? Sword on strike. So his passive or his basic attack. Stun the enemy with the sword and inflict 270% physical damage and makes the target stunned for one turn. So not only is his ultimate stunning everyone on the field, his passive is stunning the target that he's attacking. So good crowd control. Good crowd control. Nature Heal. Arthur will recover 5% hit points with a 20% chance whenever he's attacked. Okay, 5% isn't much. If we're talking about, let's just go to our stats again for melee class or a tank class. So between 190 and 286 is the melee class. If he is classified as a tank class, it's 257 up to 385. So 385, 5% on that is nearly 80. What do we got? 8. Oh, that's 10. So you're talking at 20. Yeah, it's not a lot. It's not a lot, actually. I'm actually sort of surprised. It's actually quite low. And I think with the damage that's coming through, the 5%, unless you've got him back off the front row, where he's constantly sort of getting it, I'm not sure that the 5% is going to do it. And you know what? It's only a 20% chance to get the 5%. So it's not like he's getting the 5% heal every time. Let's go for his last one. Arthur's body is stronger than ever from the countless battles. Hit points will be increased by 20%. Okay, so there you go. So taking the base tank of 257 to 385, add another 20% onto that. So you could be up around the 4, getting close to 500. Then take your 5% off. You know, you're looking at maybe anywhere up to 40 to 50 hit points whenever he's attacked. Maybe that also takes in the fact that if someone's actually doing an AoE, because he'll get attacked, that it just sort of comes in as well. So we'll see that. But a hill is a hill, and out of all the classes so far we've looked at, no one else is actually coming up with those hills. All right, guys. That's the 4 classes, or that's the 4 characters that we've got under the melee class. Let's just have a quick look at Step Hero. Okay, so here we are back at Step Hero's headquarters. As we looked at, and we will keep on looking at the end of each of them, having a look at the marketplace. The marketplace is amazing at the moment, but as I said, because they graphically make each of these characters move, I think mine's frozen at the moment. It's hard on my CPU. But let's just have a look at the lowest price at the moment. So as at now, if we're going through the lowest price, okay, and this is different from what I looked at this morning. You're looking at common characters without any summoning abilities itself under $20. Okay, for me, I'd say that's a steal. Even if you're going for uncommon, which I do want to pick up some next week if I get some, under $50 as well. Personally and openly, I paid $70 or $80 for an uncommon or for a common. That's a weird one. There's a bug. Uncommon and common there. I paid $70 for a common character probably about a month ago. So there's a steal. If you want to get a baseline of characters before we get into the game in about a month's time, these will definitely go up. These will definitely go up, like all the NFT games. You get that sort of that rise when they first come out and everyone's summoning and trying to get the NFTs. Then between the box releases to when the game is released, you get that lull where people sort of see another game and they want to sell their NFT and get onto that game because it hasn't skyrocketed on day one. So they're dumping their NFTs. So pick up those sort of things or those NFTs as they're selling them off. Then the game's going to release and people are going to realise the benefits and the rewards coming out of the game, and then suddenly all these NFTs will just go away and you'll go, either why did I sell it or why didn't I buy them when they were low. So the other thing we've got obviously is the marketplace itself. Here's my lowly little common mage, my $70 mage, but it is purple. He looks amazing, and I'm sure when the battles come he's going to hold his own there. And then we've got our NFTs as well. So I am definitely moving some currency in the next couple of weeks. There we go, coming in. I do want to get some more heroes so I can stake. I would love to get enough so I can get enough points to eventually get an NFT through the staking. I'll probably pick up maybe 1,000 or so. The price is right at the moment. At the time of the video, hero was only about 60 cents. So definitely a good time. I'm not saying it's bottom. Obviously do your own due diligence on it as well, but I certainly think that at the time just short of release, I think is a good time to get in, I should say. With some of the characters we're looking at, so let's just have a look at what we looked at. King Arthur, Leonardos, Layla Vampire, and Zombie Swordsman. There we go. From a common. Okay, they're a little bit higher. The melee class is probably about a 15% more than what we just saw on the lowest coming through. So let's go for uncommons. Uncommons, a little bit less, but there's still some good value uncommons there. Most of these melee class though, you can see have already been summoned. So the good thing about here is it's actually showing you straight up rather than clicking on them what's been summoned, but you can pick up something still for just under $60 that doesn't have summons. So if you get yourself 2 melee class and a few step, you only need 40 step, and then you can actually summon as well. Now what I'm not seeing here, we've got Layla Vampire, we've got King Arthur. Where's my favourite? Alright, let's click away here. Where's Leonardos? There you go. Not only is he my favourite, he's obviously a favourite of a few others, because he's definitely probably about 20% more on everybody else. So I'm certainly going to pick up a Leonardos. I'm just going to, and look at the growth from 60 for these are summoned, coming with an unsummoned Leonardos. You're going up to $80-$90 as well. So as much as I want one, I'm going to just have to put a few pennies aside. Alright, so there you have it. We just had a quick look at the abilities and the ultimates of the melee class of Step Heroes. Don't hesitate to hit that like, hit that subscribe if you'd like to see more of Step Heroes or any other video that I'm doing. Leave a comment if you'd like me to look at any other NFT games, and we'll see you in the next one. Alright.